Welcome back to Mornings with Kerri-Anne Live. Great to have you with us. Well, history reveals that crime follows the money. With the growth of the internet and e-commerce, cybercrime has become the fastest growing white-collar crime. Now, no one is immune from attack, and you may be shocked to discover that someone's actually stolen your personal details, set up accounts in your name, and is spending up big. Our IT expert, Paul Wilson, is with us to give us a little knowledge on how to protect ourselves. Paul, good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Kerri-Anne.
Okay, just identity theft. Let's start with that.
It's scary stuff, isn't it? That someone may steal your identity. What it effectively means is that identity thieves steal personal details that belong to you, and they use those personal details to run up charges on your credit card, on your bank account, on your telephone bill. So it's not good stuff. Very
bad stuff. Now, how do they get this?
There are a number of ways that identity thieves can get information. They can use cybercrime to infiltrate your computer and steal personal details that way. They can go through your rubbish and steal receipts, bank accounts, that sort of information. Just by word of mouth. Once someone has details, the cybercrime network works really quickly and sends out your personal details to somebody else in another country, and before you know it, your credit card or your bank account is being used by a number of people around the world. And there are two scales to cybercrime. At one end, you've got credit card theft, and that's if someone obviously gets your credit card details. Now, credit cards are great. You can buy tickets online, you can book restaurants, holidays, but you can do this all without presenting in person your credit card. You don't need to sign for anything anymore. So all someone needs is your credit card, the number, the name on the card, and the expiration date.
They don't even need the card?
No, and they can go shopping. So that's at one end of the scale, and you usually find out in a month's time when you get your credit card statement, and instead of saying $200, you owe $12,000, and then the alarm bells ring. But at the other end of the scale, there's crime or cybercrime, identity theft, that involves someone getting a lot of personal details from you, your driver's license details, your parents' information, and credit card details, telephone bills, and so on. And what they do is they go to a bank and they open up an account using your name. But it doesn't have your address. So what they do is they get a credit card with your name on it, they get a telephone bill or a telephone account, they get an internet account, all with your name and your details under your details, and they start spending up big. And it's not until 6 months down the track that the bank finally gets hold of you and makes you, well, it suggests that you should pay for this, that the alarm bells ring and you're really in trouble, and it's a nightmare.
Wow, what sort of recourse have you got if somebody's gone ahead and done that and you know nothing about it?
Okay, well, firstly, prevention is better than cure. So I'd suggest that you review your statements at the end of every month. No one likes to look at the statements and go through every transaction, but please do it. And look for smaller transactions. Often cybercrimes like to pay, you know, $35 for this, $40 for that, because you will miss it. And they don't go for the big chunk. And that way they can use your credit card over a period of time before you're even aware, you know, that someone's been using it. But your recourse is immediately to contact the bank or the institution and say, hey, I think I'm a victim of cybercrime. I'd like you to stop my account. How can we work to find out who the criminal is, who's doing this, but also how can I have a new account so I can continue to function without stopping my details?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You can't stop functioning in terms of your finances. And
that's the problem with cybercrime. It's so debilitating once you find that someone's using all this information, and if you don't find out soon enough, your credit rating will suffer. And imagine going to the shop, you've had a great day shopping, and you go to the final shop and you've got mum's birthday present and the girlfriend's birthday present or so on, and you're about to pay for it on your credit card. It's 5 to 5 on a Saturday afternoon. The birthday party's that night, and they say, I'm sorry, you've overspent your limit. You say, I've got a $10,000 limit on that card and I've only spent $200. And then you don't find out until Monday that someone else has been using your credit card.
Okay. What about over the internet using credit cards?
Okay. Again, it's like using the phone, okay? You put in your credit card details, you don't effectively sign for anything. But you do have recourse. If someone uses your credit card falsely, immediately contact your bank. They will ask you to sign an affidavit to say that you haven't purchased those goods, and then they will investigate. And 9 times out of 10, you'll get your money back. But it's the inconvenience of the thing, isn't it? Having to contact the bank and organise all of that.
Of course it is. But legally, you are not up for this money.
That's correct. But the banks will try and convince you otherwise. So be aware. Legally, you're not up for the money because you didn't make the transaction. And the bank has to prove that you signed for the goods. That signature is very important. And with the internet...
And over the internet, you haven't signed for anything.
Exactly. You haven't. Okay, and anyone could have used those details.
Right. I mean, just have you got an idea of figures you can give me for identity theft and or credit card. How rife is it in this country?
Millions of dollars. Yeah, and unfortunately small businesses bearing the brunt of it as well, because what happens is an identity thief uses your credit card, makes some transactions on it, you then say, no, I didn't make these transactions. Who pays for it? The small business, not the bank, or the merchant, the person who's provided the goods. So they send the goods to you, they pay for the cost of delivery, the goods themselves. So it affects the consumer, and it affects business as well. Big business can afford the protection.
And small business can't.
No, it can't.
Yeah.
So it's a big problem at the moment, and institutions are trying to work out how we can protect both the consumer and the small business and still allow internet transactions to go through. Before
we leave, Paul, can you touch on computer viruses? You know, every time you open up a computer, somebody says, oops, there could be a virus I've sent you. How do you protect yourself?
Okay, best protection is to keep your antivirus software up to date. There are 2 packages on the market. One is Norton Antivirus, the other one is McAfee, at least these are the 2 major packages. Spend $80 to $100 on antivirus software once a year is not a big investment to protect your information.
Only once a year?
Only once a year. But download patches or updates constantly, every day, and you can set most antivirus software packages to do that automatically. Okay? But don't be lazy. Don't buy a computer and then think it's going to do it all for you. You've got to be vigilant.
Well done, and thank you.
Pleasure.
Our IT specialist, Paul Wilson, joining us. Okay, after the break, you could be the winner on the Morning Wheel.
You gotta take it on trust. We don't need